Hey YouTube, I'm out in an active range, so you're going to hear a lot of gunfire in the background, but I'm going to attempt to do a review here on the Huxwrx Flow 22 Ti, which is new for 2024, as well as the DBX57, and why I, or more my wife, chose that one. So I'll just go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to be using a M&P 1522, a M&P 22 pistol, and then the DBX57. I'm not going to go over the stats on the Huxwrx, because if you found this video, you can find all the stats pretty easily. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just shoot 3 rounds of unsuppressed, and then 3 rounds of suppressed. 3 rounds supersonic, 3 rounds subsonic, just so you can hear the difference in there. Okay, now sub. Not a real big difference in there, and you can kind of feel a little bit of a difference, but as far as actual sound, I don't think there's that big of a difference on there. So, direct thread on there. Okay. That is hearing safe. So these first rounds are going to be subsonic. You're going to 5 rounds. And these next 5 rounds are going to be supersonic. Okay. All right. 10 rounds, not really enough to heat up anything on here, so it's pretty easy to take off. The supersonics, you can hear that crack from there, but the subsonics, it just sounds like essentially you're hitting a hammer onto a nail. Okay, moving over to the pistol, same thing. I'm going to give you 3 rounds of the subs and 3 rounds of the supers. Okay, now the supers. A little bit more of a difference in the sound on those. Key thing to remember is that the velocity, which I'm shooting Federal, just bulk ammunition by at Walmart. The velocity on there is advertised as 1,200 feet per second. If you're shooting these things out of a long barrel, then yes, you may achieve that 1,200. Out of pistols, it's usually subsonic. So, got it loaded up now. 5 rounds. First, you're going to be 5 rounds of sub, then 5 rounds of supersonic. Okay. And now the supers. Now with that, on the last 2, I did hear a little bit more of a crack, which makes me think that it is breaking that sound barrier. But overall, very hearing safe, and as you can tell, everything has been functioning without any issue on there. Okay? Now I'm going to be moving to the DBX57. Just going to give you 3 rounds. So what I'm shooting is some FN, which is the 40 grain VMAX round. Okay, so it's just going to be 3 rounds here real quick. You can shoot the DBX57. I have 5 rounds inside of here. I'm going to go ahead, suppressed, 5 rounds, see how this goes. I had 1 failure to feed. Okay. Honestly, not that much louder than the other 2. Like, just barely louder. So I'm very impressed with this Huxwrx. Alright, I'm going to be attempting to show the shift in your point of aim, point of impact. I'm going to start off here with the 22 pistol. I'm just going to be back at 10 yards standing. Then I'm going to be moving back to the bench, which is at 62 yards. Sorry, it's not a round number. So the series of events is the first 5 rounds are going to be unsuppressed supersonic, so the standard ammunition that you're going to use. After that, I'm going to go ahead and put the suppressor on there. I'm going to shoot 5 rounds again with the supersonic ammunition, and then I'm going to shoot 5 rounds of the subsonic ammunition. In between each take, I'm going to come down and I'm going to mark everything up so you'll be able to see the difference. I'm also going to leave the camera down here so that way you can hear what the perceived sound is going to end up being, at least at those distances. Alright, in case I haven't mentioned it, I'm shooting American Eagle suppressor ammunition, as well as the Federal bulk ammunition that you buy at Walmart. This stuff has been very inconsistent. I'm hearing snaps and then subsonic, snaps, subsonic. So velocity is definitely jumping back and forth, and that's between rifle and pistol. It's been doing that, as well as the accuracy, as I'm sure you could tell from the other video. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot it a little bit more on the rapid side, and I want to see how fast it takes for the 22 pistol to heat up. So there's 10 rounds through it. Also, with the such a small suppressor that's on here, I have standard iron sights on here. However, I can still see just a little bit of the top on it. There's 20 rounds, and now it's too hot to touch. Same thing, except for I'm just going to be using the 22 rifle. We'll see if the added velocity affects it. First 5 rounds are going to be subsonic, and then super after that. super, subsonic, super. So on that one, you could definitely tell the difference in there between the subsonics and the super. Heat, no, safe to touch. 10 more rounds. It's getting warm, but I would say it's still probably safe to touch. Again, I'm shooting the Federal bulk ammunition. All of those were just fine, but not so much on the others. As far as the snap being over the perceived sound barrier. There's another 10 out of it. Now it's starting to get a little bit too hot to touch. If you left it up against your leg, would it burn you? Maybe, maybe not. Something else to kind of keep in mind is that out in Las Vegas right now, it's about 105 degrees. So anything that's black is automatically going to absorb more. So I'm starting off with it slightly hotter than it would normally be. Now that we're cooled down out here, I'm going to be shooting the DBX57. And again, I'm using the FN blue box here, which is the 40 grain VMAX. Okay, 10 rounds. 10 rounds, and now it's already hot to the touch. DBX57. A little bit of a hiccup there. 1.61. 1.08. 1.18. Overall, this thing has been performing very well for me. As far as the suppressor goes, it's hearing safe, but I am outside. If you're inside of a closed area, say inside of your house or a car, I don't know how much that would come back, but I would say you'd probably still be fine. The 22s, definitely, you'd be fine inside the indoors, and obviously outdoors is hearing safe completely. With the higher round count that you try and put, or that I've been trying to put on here, it's not dropping off. There's not even a snap on the first round like with some other suppressors. Alright, so like I said, it's been throwing the brass very consistently. However, if you look at the brass, it is very, very dirty. It's not usually that bad. So even though it is a flow through, it's still putting a lot of gas back there. I have noticed on occasion a little bit of extra gas up in your face. Nothing that would choke you out, and definitely not like any other suppressors that I've run. So it's doing its job, definitely reducing the amount of gas that comes back, but just beware, it's still there and you're going to have to clean it more than normal. Some things that I want to note on here is that after shooting several rounds through it, it is slightly loose. Now it is very hot to the touch. It's got the little glove for it, but yeah, it's loose on there. It's supposed to have the flow going into the opposite direction, so that way every time it flows it's supposed to tighten slightly. Maybe because it's a 5.7 it's not doing that, don't know. But I've also noticed that on the pistol as well, that it does get a little bit loose after you've been shooting it for a while. But testing to see whether the shot timer will actually pick it up. I have it on its highest setting already. Super. Picked it up no problem. Nothing. Still nothing. And now it's picking it back up. So even with the sensor all the way up by my face, closer to the rifle, subsonics through the rifle are not picking them up. All right, so through the rifle, it doesn't pick them up on the shot timer here. So let's see if it picks them up from the pistol. Nothing. Up by the chest. Nothing. So 22 through the rifle, if it's subsonic, it's not picking them up, and through the pistol, either way, it's not picking them up. Those were supersonic rounds that I shot through there, and nothing is picking up on here. And again, I have it turned to the highest sensitivity. All right, so final thoughts on the Huxwrx Flow 22 Ti. Very impressed with it. Definitely hearing safe, and if you're using subsonic, indoor and outdoor, would work just fine. As with the 5.7, it's also hearing safe. However, if you're going to be using it indoors, you're probably going to get more of an echo with it, but you should still be okay. This was the calculations that I did for all of my groupings. Groupings on here, not that great, but I mean, they are what they are. They didn't have a huge difference in them. The only ones that did, so the top is standard, and then the two below it are going to be shot with the suppressor. Okay, so both of the supersonic, okay, above the 1100 feet per second, both of them actually got worse when you put the suppressor on there. And then for the subsonic ammunition, both of them shot better than the standard. That could just be because the subsonic ammunition is better quality. Over here at the 5.7, same thing as far as the supersonic, the grouping there, subsonic had 1 7/8, so it actually did a lot better with the subsonic. Now this last one down here is what I did at the end of the day, so I fired around 250 rounds, which was 200 rounds of 22 and about 50 rounds of the 5.7 ammo. So this was brand new when I brought it out to the range. First shots through it are on camera. So I did notice that as the day progressed, that the suppressor became more consistent in how quiet it was. So there is some validity to that. And then as far as the repeatability, I had a 2 1/4 inch drop off of it just being cold and the first initial shots out of it. And then at the end of the day, I only had a 1 inch drop. So it did get better and better as I went on. And then I also have it written down here how many rounds it took for this to get hot. So you have the 10 rounds, 20, and 30 for the rifle, which was surprising. I thought for sure that the rifle would be more than or less than 30 rounds. That just meant that it was too hot to handle without burning, without being too uncomfortable. Wouldn't be enough to actually burn you though. I'm still going to get a cover for the suppressor though. It's coming in pretty soon. One of the other things that you may have noticed is I have this, and it's pretty simple. Just yank it and it spins it on. You may still need to twist it a little bit more. All this is duct tape. I just folded it over onto itself, And then I went ahead and used painter's tape, blue tape, or the green frog tape, because then that way it won't leave a sticky residue onto anything. And that's how I went ahead and did that. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'll be happy to answer them, and look forward to posting another video soon.